June the 8th. So roundup from yesterday. Okay. Start with the Nuvik, got to 16, had a little bit of rain, couple of millimeters, 38%. RH there, into Norman Wells, it was 14 there, got about a millimeter there. And Fort Simpson got to 19, didn't report any rain. 43% RH and pretty dry out towards southwest HO. The yard was 23 and down to 19% RH. That seems to be about the driest area. Yellowknife with that system, I guess with a trowel or whatever that moved through, there was some pretty good rain with that. So Yellowknife got 14, but almost 20 millimeters of rain with that. So that was good. Smith got to 26 and a tiny bit of rain. Trace, 29% RH, but there was some areas like Let's OK was, you know, up a little further northwest, got 25 millimeters there, so similar to Yellowknife. Hay River was 20 and about 10 millimeters of rain there even. And what do we got? Fort Chip, it was about 21 down to 29% RH, didn't report any rain. And the other places and around there, Garden River was 25 and down to 23 RH. So dry there too in the Wood Buffalo area. So looking at the lightning. Okay, I hope it's on there now. With that system going through, there's some pretty good sparks in around there, especially South Slave. Man, they got a good plastering there and up towards well, the North Slave and southern part of Decho. So possibly there might be some in the next few days find some fires in with those lightning strikes there. And as we go along here in the briefing, and I'll show you, we come towards the end of the week and the weekend, boy, it gets pretty hot and dry. So if there are any new fires started, they'll have some pretty optimum conditions to get going come the end of the week. So looking right now at 500 millibars. Okay, right now it's kind of, you know, it's sort of a quiet pattern over the NWT. There's this surface feature, we call it a trowel, that's moving off into the eastern parts. But for right now, it's kind of quiet. Here's this big ridge that's over Alberta. That'll become the player and come next couple of days as it builds over the NWT. Up north, there's a pretty good cold pool that'll push its way into the Nuvik zone tonight and tomorrow. Looking at the surface. At the surface in the eastern parts, we got what I've been calling this trowel that was carrying that system along that got very unstable and lots of lightning along it. So most of the cloud is off to the east now. It's clearing up pretty smartly in behind west of that trowel. And what other features of note? Up north, there's an Arctic front, pretty good Arctic front, like I sort of showed you at 500. It's a pretty good, cool, cold vortex. So that front's going to push its way southward and probably into Sawtooth tomorrow. So in around it, some showers, and you get, you know, in behind it, and that be cold enough overnight, probably in a Nuvik zone, to mix some of that with some snow there. Looking at the satellite picture. Okay, that's this morning's. You can see this cloud, band of cloud that's still along the trowel. That's the main area, and then it kind of connects up with this low that's along that front in the north. So that thing is moving its way off eastward, and so it should give some clearing to most areas, especially in the south, through the day and into tomorrow. Going to get this big low in Alberta that's going to be forming, which will become an influence for the NWT tomorrow as it forms sort of somewhere around Fort McMurray, which is good for them finally. And mainly its influence is to really give a good northeasterly winds through most of the South Slave area tomorrow. So looking for this evening, Wednesday, for the Prague. a long time to come up sometime. What'll I look at here? At the surface, look at the Nuvik area, and it's got this cold front that will be wending its way down south. Show you on my map. The only real decent gradient is sort of way off into the east, the eastern part of the Caribou. And otherwise, it's you know, a reasonably calm gradient, kind of calm conditions, really, for most of the NWT. It's been unstable in the valley around in the Decho area today, so might kick up some thunder showers in that, as I'll show you on my prog here. This is taking a long time. Okay, so my prog. This evening here, what do we got? We got this trowel that's off into the east and making its way further eastwards. Like I say, it's getting generally clearing to the west of that. Up in the north, there's a front that's wending its way south right now. Or this evening it'll be sort of lying across Inuvik, just about through Inuvik there. So pretty cool in behind it. Like you see some flakes of snow in there behind the thing. And otherwise, system-wise, there isn't too terribly much affecting the NWT. So in various places, the winds will be calming down a fair bit. So by this afternoon or so, winds in Smith area, well, westerly 10 or so, and about 20 for a high, 35%. On the RH, go into Wood Buffalo, northerly winds, 10 gusting to 20, start getting some influence for this big Alberta low, and 25 for a high, still pretty dry though, nothing, no rain affecting them yet. 25% RHs, northerly winds into Hay, 15 or so by this afternoon, evening, getting calmer actually, and 20 or so for a high, still 30% RHs, so you know, reasonably dry. Into Caribou, still westerly winds, about 20 gusting 30, around 19 or so for a high out of the cloud, and 35% RH. Get into the cloud and obviously it's cooler, 45% RHs. Up into North Slave, kind of westerly winds, still 20 gusting 30, about 18 for a high. 35% RHs, maybe a little bit higher RHs into sort of the northern Hay part of 40%. Going to Simpson, Sahtu area, gee, it's hard to get a wind direction. It's kind of flopping around, so variable 10 to 15 for winds through the afternoon, about 20 for a high, 30% RHs down into Liard, kind of a northerly or northeasterly wind, 10 gusting to 20, around 21 for a high, RHs at 28 to 30, sort of in the upper 20s and around 30 through today, kind of like yesterday, maybe a little less, not quite as dry, but still in the upper 20s. Go into Sahtu, northwest winds there, 15 gusting 25, get around 19 for highs there. And like I said, some thunder showers. Seems like the most unstable part is in the valley, northern Decho and Sahtu, and then over the along the mountains as well. Up into Inuvik, still most of the Inuvik region south of the front probably, so 14 or so for a high, 50% on the RHs, 10 gusting to 25 kind of thing. Further afield for Thursday, I'm waiting for this thing to come. Okay, really the main feature, but the only feature is this cold Arctic front that's across, moving through Inuvik and then edging its way down into Sahtu. So like you say, the cold front, so a lot colder behind it, maybe even some snow overnight tonight through Inuvik, and then some showers along that front through Sahtu and Inuvik for tomorrow. Areas to the south, Trowel in the east is pretty much gone. It's kind of a quietish day for tomorrow for a lot of places cloud weather-wise, but this big Alberta low, you can see at 996 here around McMurray, and lots of rain advertised for McMurray, and some of that spreading up into Wood Buffalo Park as well, some of the showers. So get some chances for rain up into there. It doesn't look like it's going to make it north of the border, though. So kind of, calmish weather north of the border other than some winds, and reasonably dry still. So look at the prog for tonight. Long silencer. Okay, like I say, that I'll start in the north. With that front, it's edged its way down through Inuvik and getting into Sahtu. So, only about 8 or so for a high in Inuvik for tomorrow. Some scattered showers along it, maybe the odd thunder shower as well. Most of the thunder showers are kind of confined to along the mountains. South of the front, still most of Sahtu is, and 20 gusting to 30 from the northwest, still around 16 or so for a high. Into Simpson, Decho area, kind of a northerly wind or northeasterly, 15 gusting 25, around 20. And most of the RHs are still, kind of the same as today, 30% or so. And driest probably into Liard, northerly winds there, 15 gusting to 25, up to around 23 tomorrow, 25 R8, so that's pretty close to crossover there at Liard. Hay area starting to get the influence south of the lake, South Slave area from that low in Alberta, with the winds going around to pretty strong northwest or northeast, and 20 gusting 30, and Hay 20 or so for a high, 30% RH. So even with the RHs down at 30 and the strong winds, that's fairly aggressive fire weather. So if there were some fires that got sparked up yesterday from that big swath of lightning, this is certainly going to give them some impetus, I would think. And Smith area, 19, 30% RHs, 20 gusting 35 there. Go down into Wood Buffalo, we should sort of half of it. The southern half probably get into some of the cloud and showers from that Alberta low. And strong winds there. Gee, they're really strong gradient around that low. 25 gusting to 50 or so, especially down in the southern parts of Wood Buffalo. But then they're going to have showers, so it should mitigate the risks down there. Northern part still 18, maybe about 40% RH. It's pretty dry when you go off into Caribou. And northeast winds there, 15 gusting 25, around 16, and 30% RHs. And up into North Slave, same with the RHs, around 30%. Still getting some sort of a residual westerly flow of 15 gusting to 25, around 19 or 20 for a high there. And looking further afield, as we go Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the general idea is of building up a ridge over the pretty well all of the NWT. So on Friday, we can see soon, I hope. Okay, it came up on my screen. On Friday, you got this almost a high center in the southern Decho, but the ridge is starting to build. That Arctic front that's across the north, it'll linger on through much of the day on Friday, way up north, but it gets pushed off to the north fairly quickly, sort of, through the day. So that main feature there is pretty much gone. And like I say, the upper ridge builds, and warmer and drier, a lot warmer and drier conditions come in. There's even sort of like a southerly wind that's developing there in sort of the western parts of Decho. You can see on the surface the gradient gets a little tighter. So more and more aggressive fire weather, I think, as you get into Friday, and then we'll go into Saturday. Okay, Saturday, the upper ridge is pretty good at 500 millibars. It's pretty well established. Even it's pushed, that low to the north has gone off to the east, and the upper ridge is pushing up over Sahtu and Inuvik as well. So getting pretty warm, very warm actually, and RHs are steadily dropping, so a lot of areas, or most areas, especially in the south, starting to see RHs down into the 20s, especially for Decho and even into Sawtooth getting down close to the 20s as well as that upper ridge. The really warm and dry weather gets more and more established. Maybe there's a little upper system actually that's over around Sawtooth through the day. You can see on the precip panel I got a bit of showers there, so that might be some instability, thunder shower activity there. And then we'll go into Sunday, and we got a pretty good upper ridge that stretches across Saskatchewan and goes up into the NWT that hopefully will come onto the screen pretty soon. Okay. And we end all the way up into Alaska and that. So we're under a pretty good influence of an upper ridge, but the only place that really has got some sort of weather with it is there's another low that's making its way into Alberta, and it spreads some showers, it looks like, up into Wood Buffalo again, and maybe just inching into the South Slave area during the day on Sunday. So those will be more chances for some showers there, but otherwise, holy heck, it's warm, hot. Really, Decho, you look at some of the temperature possibilities there, and you can see temperatures getting to around 30. Into Decho, RH is down to 20, and so that's really deep crossover. So like I say, some of these fires got sparked up with that lightning yesterday. They're sure going to have some decent aggressive weather coming over the next few days to give them some activity. So I guess we'll watch out for that. So I think I'll leave it there. And any questions?
Any questions on the phone? I think using that pointer worked a lot better there, Max, than drawing on the...
You can see that, yeah, the laser pointer is okay.
Yeah, it works better, I think.
Okay. Gee, it was sure slow for these things to come up, it seemed like, at least on my screen.
Yeah, and I'll send Bev some info. It seems to me if those prognosis charts are the ones that are really slow. Some of them, the other ones aren't too bad. So maybe those prog charts are saved as bigger files, and maybe they just process more data and take longer. So I don't know if we have
I don't know. Okay.
But overall, no questions. It was a good briefing. Thank you, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. You on tomorrow again?
No, just got the one day.
Well, one
and
day.
Then the weekend.
Okay, well, we'll chat with you on the weekend again, and we'll have Bev tomorrow.
Okay, good, right. Bye.
Hey, you're